All right, cool beans, cool beans. All right, let's do up, housekeeping stuff. And within housekeeping stuff, am I in the right spot? I am. Here we go, week 11. Um, First, let's talk about what's due this week. And while I'm doing housekeeping stuff, actually, we are going to work on the 6C distribution activity, and you need to either print it off or have it on your iPad to write on, because this requires writing. So you're going to be turning this in. You're going to be writing on this thing. You won't be able to type all the stuff that you need up on here. So I'm not expecting you to type. We're actually doing calculations and things. If you can't print it off right now, then you need some loose leaf to write down, or you're going to have to prepare to come back and watch the video or something. But it's going to be a lot of participation tonight. Like, I'm going to be asking you questions, expecting you guys to answer questions. So prepare yourself to be able to um, answer questions and put stuff in the chat box. So I want to put that warning and disclaimer out on that right now. So somebody, it's going to be a lot of writing and calculating and drawing. So I'm just going to put that out there now, as far as Google Docs and letting you edit. You're going to be drawing and calculating. So I don't know if it's going to be feasible for you to type stuff in on a Google Doc. I don't care what method it is what I'm saying. You need to be able to. So, okay, well, look, however it works, as long as you do showing work and stuff, I'm just telling you personally, I think it might be difficult to use paintbrush and stuff. You might need to be, yeah. So however it works, but it may be difficult because we're going to be drawing stuff, writing stuff, calculating stuff, and writing on it. So when you turn it in, let me put it this way. I don't care if it's a picture, I don't care if it's a PDF, it's got to be turned in. So this is an activity, but as we go through it, I'm expecting for you to show work and draw and all that kind of stuff. And it might be difficult for you. It'll be very difficult for you to type all this stuff. It wouldn't be doable at all. But to draw with paintbrush, if you're skilled at it, I can't say if you are not, that's on you. I'm old. So doing paintbrush drives me nuts. So however you do it is how you do it. But you want to have this ready in a minute when we get ready to go, because that's what we're doing today. But I do want to take the time to talk about what's due this week, and to quickly, like in a rocket flash, go through what's expected for the project one more time, because we did it once before. So I won't be going very slow with it. I'm going to be going fast with it as far as what to turn in with your project. So this week, what's due Sunday? In addition to, if you didn't turn in week 10, so if you have not turned in your stuff from week 10, you need to go back to week 10, get that caught up. This week, your deliverables are homework 6C, which after we finish this activity, if you haven't done 6C, it should be more manageable for you. Chapter 5 and 6 quiz in my math lab, which you can do over and over and over again until you get the grade that you want. 6C activity, which we will finish tonight in its entirety together. So it shouldn't be hard for you guys to get that done with me tonight. And if you're watching by video, shouldn't be difficult as we work together to get it done. And then the statistics project, which is the big thing you want to do and be okay with. Okay. So with that being said, all right, so you're working on getting this, whether it's in Google Doc, PDF, print it off, however you do it, iPad, get that ready. This is the turn-in link. I don't have it open yet. It will open naturally at 7 o'clock for you to turn in the 6C activity, but I didn't want to open it before we finished it so that we can make sure everybody has had the opportunity to use me to get it done right. Okay, I'm trying to give you some points, as many points as possible. Um, We're going to go here in 1 second. This are the instructions for your project. I'm not going to necessarily open this up tonight, the sample project. You can do that on your own time. We just don't have enough time to go back again, but it's there for you to look at to make sure that you've gotten everything in that you need. And then this link to turning your project will open tonight at 7 as well. I didn't want to open it up until we went back through what I need first. And then after tonight, you'll be able to turn it in. Yes. Okay. So I'm getting a lot of direct messages from people. So not just one, a couple. Y'all are having in and out internet service. I got you. I just want to respond at once. I got you. I got you. I understand. So I know we're not back to 100% yet with everything. So I got you. I understand. So this will be the turn-in link for the statistics project right there. All right. So quick, fast, in a hurry review of what I need from your statistics project. Because at this point, you should be able to finish it with everything that I have taught. In fact, what I'm doing with the activity is not required of the project. So everything that I've taught from chapter 5 and chapter 6, you should now be able to finish your project. So quick, fast, and hurry. What you need. It's due Sunday. All right, it's due Sunday. Now, follow these guidelines so you can get all your points. And may I reiterate, follow these guidelines so you can get all your points. All projects should be typed Times New Roman, 12-point font, and double spaced. Okay? Treat this project as an English essay, as it should be neat and free from grammatical errors. This is a paper. Okay? Google Docs is fine. Word document is fine. PDF is fine. It's a paper, but do not type it into the text box. That's not fine. It should be in a paper, okay? The paper should have a cover page. Now, the sample project does not have a cover page, but the sample project does have a header. And if you do it correctly, all you got to do is take the same format of their header and stick it on the first page and that's your cover page, okay? So your cover page should have the heading that includes your name, my name, the due date, and the title of your paper. That's all you need on your cover page. All right, 12.5 Times New Roman, double spaced. Now, you got to select a purpose for your statistical study and a question. If you use one of these questions, you do not need my approval. If you choose another question, you need my approval. And may I suggest, do not send me an approval email after tonight. I might not get it. So I'm hoping y'all have already done this, so we're not worried about it. But there are the occasional procrastinators. I used to be one, still a little bit, but I used to be a big procrastinator. Don't send any emails after tonight. I probably won't get it and I won't be able to approve it. So that would mean you would need to do one of these questions at the bottom. So again, you could choose one of these. I don't have to approve these. If you choose another one, I have to approve it. All right. Now, we did that. Now, I added this the other night and I re-uploaded the document because I want to make sure that y'all understand. Because you're supposed to collect at least 25 data. You're going to ask at least 25 people. I prefer you to stick with 25. If you have less than 25, points will be deducted. If you have more than 25, that's fine. But trust me, you don't want to make it more complicated than it needs to be. But you need to list those data points in a list. Either I'll open it up in the sample project one more time just to show you, but it needs to be either listed with commas in between or just a line of 25 numbers, okay? You want to make sure you list your data points. I need this information to check your calculations. You don't have to type person 1, 5, person 2, 6, person 3, 4. Don't do that. I just need the numbers, and I'm going to tell you why. I just need to be able to copy and paste it into my thing that, so I can do all the 5-number summary, the median, the mode, all that. I actually calculate your data to see if it's right.
Dr. Rogers,
Yes.
I have a question. Do you have a website like you could recommend that like I could have to just send to people? You know, like a survey website maybe?
I don't have a recommendation other than, I mean, I've used SurveyMonkey, a Google form. I've had people just post it on their Facebook page.
Okay.
It's, I'm just being honest with you. I just need you to tell me how you got it.
Oh,
And,
okay. Okay.
and make sure that it's not, tell me how you made sure to avoid bias. Okay. That's it. So
Okay,
there's
thank
no restriction on how to do it. You can post it on your Facebook page. You can send out a SurveyMonkey. You can call people. I mean, there's, I'm okay with that. Just tell me what you did and that's cool. So just list those data points, but don't put person one in there. I know that's goes against, because you're like, but you want it to be neat. I do. But the purpose of me telling you to give me the data points is so I can just calculate. It's not for it to be pretty. It's just to calculate. All right. So once you have your data points, you got to create your frequency table and include a relative frequency column and use the appropriately sized bins. Okay. Make sure your bins are equal size. And you can go back to any video when I taught stuff like that, freshen up on what we did. It's okay. And I think I'm lagging. My internet's lagging. So forgive me if I'm slowing down or whatever. All right. So now then create an appropriate graph. Choose one graph. It doesn't, besides the frequency table. So you need the frequency table and then you need a graph. Okay. The graph can be a histogram. It could be a line chart. It could be a pie chart. Some suggestions on places you can make them, because you're not hand drawing them. They must be computer generated. Okay. Word, Excel. I gave you a website, Charts to Go. You can Google how to make a chart on, online, and they'll give you websites. So I'm not limiting you on what you can use. Just make sure that you can put labels and it's color and you can put it in your paper. Okay. If you have to screenshot it and then paste it into your paper, that's fine. However you do it, it's up to you. Once you have your data, I need the mean, the median, the mode, the range, and the 5-number summary. I do not need a box and whisker plot, but if you want to put one in there, go for it. But all I need is the list, the mean, median, mode, range, and the 5-number summary, and the standard deviation. So you need to calculate the standard deviation. You do not have to put the standard deviation. You don't have to calculate it by hand. You can use the calculator. I've shown you how to use your calculator. So that's absolutely fine. You don't need to include the work. I just need the answers. I don't need the work on how you calculated it. I know that's weird, but I don't need it. Include an interpretation of your standard deviation for your data, like explain, is your standard deviation high? Is it low? And what it means. Then write a 1-paragraph conclusion about your study, address what you learned from it, how you can extend the study if you were to extend it to something else, that kind of thing. Now, turning it in, it's due by 11:59. It's due by 11:59. It's due by 11:59. Blackboard will automatically mark it late after 11:59. Okay. The first day that it's late is 20 points off. And then each day after is 10 points off. And then it will close 1 week later. April 20th, 2025. That's 1 full week. It'll close after that. You do not have to email me if it's late. Blackboard will tell me it's late. I mean, if it makes you feel, if you're late and you go, I just need you to know it's late and it's coming, then fine, that's fine if that makes you feel better. But I'm just saying, you don't have to tell me it's late. I'm going to probably start grading them, and by the time I finish grading the ones that are on time, I go back and check for the ones that are late, and then grade those that are late. So it's okay. I will get to it. I promise. But it must be turned into Blackboard. You are not to email me the project. it must be turned into Blackboard. If you're turning it in at 11:50 Sunday night and you can't get it into Blackboard because you're having technical difficulties, you're waiting until the last 10 minutes, don't do that. Get it in enough time so you can work out your technical difficulties and turn it in on time, okay? You don't have to, because if you email it to me, it will get lost in a sea of emails. And then I won't remember it's there. Yes, I have, Samaya, I did. I did, but so there you go. I'm telling you, if you email it to me, I'm gonna forget it's there, but you reminded me and I fixed it. So just know that my but you're right. I forgot it. And you called me on it. I forgot it because if it comes to my email, y'all have no idea how many emails we get a day. So I will forget it's there. And I promise you, with you guys alone. So I teach 2 classes at night. That's 60 kids. I call y'all kids because y'all are my kids, even though y'all are grown adults, but y'all still my babies. I teach 60 at night and then I teach over 100 during the day. So the email, it will I'll remember that day, but it'll get lost later on. So that's why Blackboard, you can't even argue with me. I know it's there. There's no excuse, but through emails, I'll see it that one moment and then it'll disappear in the emails later. So for your own protection, I'm always working to protect you. Blackboard is the way to go. It timestamps it. It does everything we need to do for me to get it graded. But I promise, Amaya, if you still don't see it, let me know. But I did it the other day. I thought I did, but if I didn't and it still shows 0, then there's a technological glitch. So check tonight and email me again if you still don't see it. All right, so that's the thank you. So you don't have to shut up. If you don't see it, you tell me, don't shut up. All right, so that is the statistics project in a nutshell, but I do want to quickly look at the sample. I'm not going to go through the whole sample, but I did want to pinpoint and point out that I need that list as generic as possible so that I can make quick calculations. I'm going to sneeze. Hold on. So including your list just like this is perfect for me. Just say the answers I got. You don't put units on it. Don't say hours. Don't put any of it. Just give me the numbers. That's all I want so that I can quickly copy and paste them and do what I need to do in order to get the calculations. Okay. And that it just speeds up the process of me grading your project when you do it this way. All right. I know the temptation is because I've probably gotten on y'all about be specific, be specific. You don't have to be specific with that list. Just type it out. All right, so here we go. Let's get our activity in order. Questions before I go?
Yeah.
I think somebody was unmuting. Go for it.
The cover page, do they have to be 12 font too?
Yes, so 12.5, just center it. I mean, I'm not that particular, but 12.5 Times New Roman, just put it, put it on there, looks professional. That's it. Okie dokie. Any other questions, my friends? All right, so let's roll. I promise you, this shouldn't take us too long to get done. If y'all work with me, like I'm gonna be calling on y'all, stick it in the chat box. If you don't feel comfortable and you feel like your answers are gonna be wrong or something like that, DM me. I still see it. So the more participation we get and the more I can see that we're understanding, or maybe I can see where you're not understanding, the faster it makes us go. But I promise you, before the end of the night, you will have the answers to every single question on this activity, and you'll be able to turn it in and get a 100. All right, so at the top, I'm just gonna, so that we remember when we went over distributions Tuesday, today's Thursday, you remember that rule was called the 68, 95, 99.7 rule. That tells us what percentage of the data points are within 1 standard deviation, 2 standard deviations, and 3 standard deviations away from the mean. So the first 3 questions are going to be real easy to answer. So everybody in the chat box, given an approximately normal distribution, what percentage of all data points are within 1 standard deviation from the mean? Put that in the chat box. What percent is within 1 standard deviation from the mean? Okay, keep going, keep going, keep going. I see you, I see you. All right, come on, y'all, join in, join in. What percent is within 1 standard deviation of the mean? Okay. So in particular, when we had this right here, and this was the mean, we had 1 standard deviation, what percent was represented right there? Okay, got a little worried there for a second. I put the answer up here already, 68%. I got a little worried there. 68% is within the first standard deviation. All right, second standard deviation. What percent is within the second standard deviation? Okay, okay. I agree, it is 95%. Some of y'all should be catching on by now. All right, 3 standard deviations. What percent is within 3 standard deviations? Y'all here? Y'all still here? Okay. All right, there we go, there we go. All right, technically it's 99.7%, although I think my math lab may like shorten it to 99, but it's truly 99.7%. All right, so that was the easy. We're still gonna say easy. Now, number 4 wants us to draw. So remember I told you we're gonna have to draw and do some calculations. Number 4 wants us to draw a normal curve and label 1, 2, and 3 standard deviations on both sides of the mean for a mean of 175 and a standard deviation of 37. All right, so we're going to do this. I will lead this one. And then after this one, I'm going to say, okay, now you try this whole one by yourself. So how do you draw a curve? Well, let's draw an x-axis. And we're going to, as close as possible, try to draw a bell curve. I know it won't be perfect. All right. And at the peak, the mean, we're going to label that 175.
I got a question.
Uh-huh.
How do we know? Well, I was going to ask, how do we know what type of curve to draw? But since
It's
this,
called this is a normal distribution. That's the curve we're gonna, it looks like this.
Okay.
We don't know, we don't care about skinny or wide at this point. We're just sketching. So just, each time is gonna look just like this. I see you, Capricia. Capricia, I would just suggest, we had gone over a lot of important housekeeping stuff. So whenever when the video gets done processing and I post, make sure you go back to take a look at that stuff at the beginning. All right, so we got the mean. Now we got to do one standard deviation on both sides. All right. And when we do the standard deviation, one standard deviation, for this one, it's 37. So what we're going to do is we're going to add 37 to 175 and we're going to subtract 37 from 175. So we're going to start off with 175 plus 37. So that first standard deviation is going to be 212. And we're going to subtract. So 175 minus 37. So this one is 138. That's the first standard deviation. All right, we're going to estimate. I know it's not going to be perfect. Our second standard deviation. So we're going to add 37 to 212, which puts us at 249. And we're going to subtract 37 from 138. Oops, 138 minus 37. So this one is 101. So we've now done two standard deviations on both sides. We're going to do a third one. I'm just going to put it back. It's not very accurate, but that's what we're guessing. All right, so to 249, we're going to add 37, which is 286. And to 101, we're going to subtract 37, which is 64. So your normal curve with the 3 standard deviations should look like this. And now we're going to answer the questions that they have at the bottom. Now these questions, these are the easiest ones so far. They will change as we go. So don't think that this is the same questions over and over again. It changes. So you have to pay attention to what they're asking. So for B, it says, what percent of the values are within the interval of 138 to 212? 138, you don't have to color this. I'm just doing this to help you out. So everybody in the chat box, this should be real quick. What percent are within that range? It's not a trick question. What percent are within that range? Put it in the chat box. And this is kind of like a sermon at church. The faster you put answers in, the faster we get done. So the faster you say amen, the faster we get done. There we go. There we go. There we go. Perfect. I love it. I love it. Amen. Amen. So the answer to B is 68%. That is correct. 68%. All right. Next question. I'll change the color so we can see it better. What percent of the values are between 101 and 249? Put that percent in the chat box. 101 to 249. What percent is that in the chat box? Not a trick question, I promise. All right, I see some direct messages. Come on through, come on through. It should be written. Okay, okay, okay. I see you. I'm trying to help y'all. There's a reason why I'm scrolling like I am. What percent is with the second standard deviation? Here we go. There you go. Y'all are scared. Yes, 95%. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right, now, what percent? Let's change the color so we can see. Let's go with yellow. Between 64 and 286. 3 standard deviations. What percent are underneath the 3 standard deviations? Okay, good, good, good. That is 99.7%. 99.7%. Good. All right, now, the next one says, so we got to do a little bit of calculating. I'm going to try to, let me see if I can get some of this out the way so we can see. Got to do a little bit of calculations for these, but we did some of these the other day, so we just got to refresh our memory, and we got to use what we used in the first few answers to help us get to the answers. All right, so what percent of the values are outside of the intervals of 138 and 212? So outside of the intervals of 138 and 212 look like this. This part and this part. Now, use what you know the inside is to help you get the outside. You should know what this part, you should know what the red part is. I want to know what the yellow part is. So if you know what the red part is, guesstimate what the yellow part is. Okay. So if you know the whole thing is 100% and inside is 68%, then you're going to do 100 minus 68 is 32%. All right, so this one is 32% because the inside is 68, so we subtract it from 100 and you get 32%. Okay, now, what percent of the values are outside 101 and 249? So I know I'm making a big colorful mess, but let's make this green. Outside 101 and 249, that's the green. And let's see if I can, I'm just going to make this all red now. Boom, 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 boom. So based upon what the red should be, what would be the green? All right, let me erase so y'all don't get confused. Based upon what the red is, what would be the green? Get out of the way. Oh, I don't have any brave folks yet. Good, good, good. So if the red is 95%, 100 minus 95 gives us 5%. So you 5%. Very good. All right. Tanisha, you did half of that side. Save that for later. You're going to need it. So if I just ask for one side outside of it, that will give you 2.5. That's good. Both sides, 5%. All right. But save that for later. It's coming. And I'm going to call your name. I'm going to go, what is it? All right. Now, outside of 64%. So let me color this in red so we can see. I mean, sorry, not out of 64%. Outside of the range of 64 and 286. So the green, so just this piece. What is that? Let me erase. Okay. So think about what's the red. All of this is supposed to be red here, even though it looks weird colored. What would be the green? Okay, so the inside is 99.7%. Don't forget that 0.7. So we got to do 100 minus 99.7, which gives us 0.3%. So the answer to that is 0.3%. Okay. All right. Now, number 5. Make sure everybody got that. All right, number 5. Given a normal distribution, so when they say normal, it's going to be a curve that looks like that, with a mean of 122 and a standard deviation of 22. So here we are. I'm going to get you started, and then I'm going to be quiet for a few minutes while you draw. This is awful. I told you, the more we go, the worse my curve looks. All right, so here we go. Boom. I'm going to get you started, and then I'm going to be quiet for a few minutes while you work. Your mean is 122. Your first standard deviation is going to be about here. Second one, you can put it there. And your third one there. Now I'm going to be quiet. I want you to label your deviations at the bottom and give me an okay or a thumbs up in the chat box, and that'll tell me when to check to give you the answer so you can check your work. All right. So don't do B through F yet. You don't have to do that. I just want you to label your curve and give me an okay or a thumbs up in the chat box. Go for it. I'm starting to see some okays. All right, good. All right, so let's get with it then. Let's check and see if we at least set it up correctly. So you should have with your standard deviation, and I'm going to do the adding part first to make it easier. We're adding 22 each time. So 122 plus 22, you should have 144. Adding 22 again should be 166. Adding 22 again is 188. So that's that right side. Now for the left side, we're going to subtract 22. So we have 100 there. Then 100 minus 22 would be 78. And then 78 minus 22 is 56. How did we do? We did good? Do we understand it? Good, good, good. All right. That makes me happy. That makes me happy. Okay, now let's answer these questions. So you're going to put these intervals in the chat box and let me know what you got. All right, what interval contains 68% of the data? If you don't know how to put the interval in, it's just like this. Okay, so what interval is 68%? Okay, now I'm starting to get some good. Okay. All right, so those of you confused, 68% would be this right here. So we would say it starts at 100, ends at 144. Starts at 100, ends at 144. Parentheses around it just tells us it's starting at 100, ending at 144, close the parentheses. Okay. What interval would be 95%? What interval would be 95%? How's it doing that? Okay, good, good. 78, oops. 70, Lord y'all, 78 to 166 would be my 95%. All right, what about my 99.7%? Good, good, good. All right, we're catching on. So definitely, we change this to black. That would be 56 to 188. Good. Now, y'all got to do some calculating. Y'all got to do a little calculating. All right, what percent of the values is above 122? All right, you don't have to do any calculating for this. What percent, this should be a given. What percent is above 122? All those. What percent is that? Okay, I got a DM. All right. Good, good, good. That is half the data. Half the data is above the mean. Half the data is above the mean. That is 50%. Good, good, good.
What do
All
you
right.
mean by above?
With the red, the greater than 122. Above means greater than, below means less than. Good question. So how much of the data should be greater than 122? So basically, the mean tells you your halfway point. 50% of your data should be above and 50% of your data should be below because it's symmetric. So we're cutting it in half. All right, now I'm doing this one in green. What percent of your data is below 78? All right. Was it Tanisha? I said I was in the green. What percent of your data, you might have to do a little calculating. What percent of your data is below 78? Less than 78. Okay. All right. So now, if you caught on, so this is 2 standard deviations out. And if I did both sides and it was 2 standard deviations, that would be 95% that's inside. But we want the outside and we only want one side. So your first step is, okay, 100 minus 95 gives me 5%. But I only want one side, so we have to divide that by 2. So 5 divided by 2 gives me 2.5%. So only 2.5% is below 78. 2.5% is below 78. Questions, questions, questions. Where are you lost? Talk to me before we move forward. Okay. All right. Now, number 6. Draw a normal curve with a mean of 159 and a standard deviation of 17. Don't try to rely on the questions at the bottom because now they're starting to not rely on like the corresponding deviations. All right, so go ahead and I made that one too big because I can't write underneath. Go ahead and draw your curve. Give yourself enough space to write your numbers underneath. Ooh, that's just awful. I apologize. All right, I'm giving you the 159 in the middle. Draw your deviations. And now I'm going to be quiet for a few minutes while you label and give me an okay or thumbs up in the chat box when you get done. Okay, I see. Get a few more ready. How are we doing? We all right? All right, who's stuck? How are we doing? I've got two okays, but haven't heard from anybody else. Okay. All right, let's check it out. So I'm just going to do the right side first. We're adding 17 each time. So we should have 176, 193, 210. Okay, now let's subtract 17. 142. 125. 108. All right. All right. In the chat box, what percent is within 142 to 176? What percent is within 142 to 176? I got some DMs. Come on through. Okay, I agree. That is 68%. Good. All right, what percent of the values are within 125 to 193? 125 to 193. What percent is that? All right, good. I agree. 95%. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Now, give me the interval that contains 99.7%. Give me the interval that contains 99.7%. Okay, so don't forget your parentheses. 108 to 210. Good. 108 to 210. Now, do some calculations. What percent is above or greater than 176? So you're looking at my green. What percent is above 176? All right, now it's only one side. It's not both. It's only one side. It's not both. There we go. All right, so some of you caught on. Both sides is 32. Both sides is 32. One side, so that's, you gotta do, 32 divided by 2, 16%. 16%. All right. Let me erase. All right, next question is, what percent are below 125? Right here. What percent are below 125? All right, good job, y'all. I love it. 2.5%. Good job. Good job, good job, good job. All right. Now, this one didn't require you to write a norm curve, but I'm telling you, it makes it easier when you do, when it's asking you these questions, okay? So, personally, I'm going down to the bottom. All right, draw you a quick little curve. It says the mean, so these are the heights of college women. The mean is 65. Standard deviation to 2.5. Quick, in a hurry. 2, 3. Fill out your curve. Quick, in a hurry. I'm gonna give you 2 minutes. Go for it. If not less. Give me an okay if you finish before 2 minutes. Go for it. Okay, good. I see some people finishing up. All right, how we doing? All right, y'all all right? What you got? Got one person saying okay. Are y'all stuck? What's happening? Okay, okay, okay. Like, where's my congregation? Y'all are not amening me. All right. So on this side, you should have, is it 2.5? Okay. 67.5, 70, and 72.5. Is that right? On the other side, you should have 62.5. Sorry, 60 and 57.5. All right, now, what percent are taller than 65 inches? What percent are taller than 65 inches?
Dr. Rogers, what's next to 65? Is that 67? I'm trying to see.
67.5 on the right?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. All right, I agree with Samaya and Tanisha. 50% of the women, because that's the mean, half the women are taller than 65. What percent are shorter than 65? Good, good, 50%. All right. What percentage of the women are between 62.5 and 67.5? What percent are between 62.5 and 67.5? Sixty-two point five and 67.5 in the green. Both sides, Tanisha, both sides. There you go, there you go, there you go. 68%. Good. All right. Between 60 and 70. Between 60 and 70. What percent? Good. 95%. All right, let's be careful with this next one. 60 and 70 point, oh, sorry, 60 and 67.5. So that's different. I want you to look at that. That's different. Let's see if y'all can calculate that. Between 60 and 67.5. Okay, I got one person soliciting an answer. Let's see, y'all try. Let me see what you got. All right. Get a few more tries. All right, we got a couple. All right, so let's take a look. Now, within the first part of it, so let me, I'm gonna, okay, right here. We already know that's 68%, okay? That part is 68. Now, if I were to do both sides of the other side, that would be, and I'm gonna kind of, if I were to include this part, that whole thing would be 95%. The whole thing would be 95%, but they took away part of that thing. So the first thing we got to do is, if it were to expand to 95% and I subtracted 68%, that would tell me what both of these are, okay? If I took that whole 95% and took out the 68%, that tells me what both sides of the red are, okay? So 95 minus 68 gives me 27%. Now, I don't want both sides of the red. I only want one side. So I'm going to divide that by 2. And that tells me that one piece is 13.5%. Okay, so I'm going to take this away. So I now have the 68% plus a 13.5%. What is that? 68 plus 13.5%. What will that give me? $81.5%. 81.5%. Okay. All right. What percentage of women are shorter than 70 inches? What percentage of women are shorter than 70 inches? Meaning all of this, all of the yellow, from 70 on down. And Tanisha, you're pointing out what this is, which is good. That is 2.5%. I want to know the other part. Ayana, question, baby.
I was confused on the last one we just did.
The 68 put 13.5%.
Yeah.
So we know the green, this part is 68% because that's one standard deviation, right? Now, if I were to add on the sides, that whole thing would be 95%. So let's say I have the whole piece of 95%, but I need to figure out what these little pieces are worth. If I subtract this 68%, it gives me what the sides are worth, which was 27% total for both sides. But I had to take only half of it away. Okay, half of it away would be 13.5%, which means this side is worth 13.5%. Hence, the 68 for the green, and then one side of 13.5 added together gives me 81.5%. So we had to do a little dissecting in order to get the pieces that were there for that. Now for this one, I see Brianna chiming in. Tanisha said that part was 2.5%. So the rest of it gives me 97.5%. So this part right here is 97.5%.
Okay, so you did the 13.5 plus what, the 68?
Uh-huh. That is correct. Okay, we on our last question. Oh, no, question G. Approximately how tall would a woman need to be in order to be at the 50th percentile? All right. 50th percentile is the halfway mark. How tall would she need to be, y'all? I see you, Angel. How tall would she have to be at the 50th percentile? Good. 65 inches for the first part. Then it says, how tall would she have to be at the 97th percentile? Now, we just calculated the 97.5 percentile, and it says approximately, okay? Somebody said 70. Well, that's the 97.5%, so I would come down a little bit and say 69 inches. Okay, 69 inches. The 97.5 percentile was 70, so I'm gonna come down 1 inch and say 69 inches. Okay, last curve, children, last curve. It doesn't ask us to, they don't ask us to draw the curve, but I'm telling you, if you draw it, it's easier. All right, so we got some chicken eggs. We got 1,000 eggs. And the mean hatch time is 21 days. It has a standard deviation of 1 day. So 1 standard deviation up and down will put me at 22 and 20. Another standard deviation up and down would put me at 19 and 23. And one more standard deviation will put me at 24 and 18. 1,000 eggs. So we got to do a little bit of calculating once we figure out our intervals. So it says, how many chicks do we expect to hatch between 19 and 23? Well, that is 95%. So we do 0.95 times 1,000. Which will put me at 950 chicks. Okay? So that's how we start getting real information. I expect 950 chicks to hatch between day 19 and day 23. Because 95% of them should hatch between that time. All right, the next one asks 21 days or fewer. So this part right here. Well, that's the 50% mark. So 0.50 times 1,000 will put me at 500 chicks. 21 days or fewer are 500 chicks. All right. 19 days or fewer. Tanisha's going to be she's going to be always known as 2.5%. So 0.025 times 1,000. 25 chicks should be less than 19 days. All right, next part, day 18 to 24. Well, that's the 99.7%. So 0.997 times 1,000. So we expect 997 chicks to hatch. All right, 22 days or more. Y'all should remember that as 16%. So 0.16 times 1,000 is 160 chicks. All right, this one requires a little calculation.
Wait, I got a question.
Uh-huh,
Why's that 16%?
uh-huh. Why is it 16%?
Yeah.
Because remember on the outside of this, if we did both sides, it was 32.
Okay, okay.
Okay, there you go. Yep. So that's just 16%. All right, 18 to 21 here, here. Now, if we had the whole left side, that would be 50%, but it's not the whole left side. If you remember when we did it earlier, this little piece was 0.03. Y'all remember that? So 50 minus 0.03, we're almost done, is 49.97%. So 0.4997 times 1,000 . Now, we can't have partial chicks. So it's got to be a whole chick or no chick at all. So we got to round. So this would put us at 500 chicks. All right, 19 to 24. 19 to 24. Now, I know this is 2.5, so we got to take that away. That's 2.5% right here. And this is 0.03, so we got to take that away. So 100 minus 2.5 and minus 0.03, because we got to take this away and this away. So 100 minus 2.5 minus 0.03. That leaves me with 97.47%. So we got 0.9747 times 1,000. All right, remember we can't have partial chicks. So that's 975 chicks. We're almost there. Last one, less than 18 days. That's that little piece, that 0.03. So 0.03 times 1,000. Oh, 18 days or more. Sorry, y'all. 18 days or more. Did I calculate that right? Yeah, 18 days or more. So we got to take that away from 1,000. So that's 970 chicks. All right, questions, questions, questions. Lots of calculation, lots of calculation. We did them all, we did them all. All right, friends, that's it for tonight. All you got to do, make sure you got it all written down, put your name on it, submit. Good night. Somebody check that grade though for me. Make sure I did it. If I didn't, send me an email, okay? Gotcha. All right, y'all have a good night, and I will see y'all next week. Don't forget, get your projects in, and I'll see y'all next week. Have a good one.